Hello, everyone, and welcome. We'll be starting in just a moment. The bride and groom have asked me to relay a very important message to all of you. Some people feel in these occasions, these weddings, to become photographers and pull out their phones and capture the moment. They would prefer that you do not do this. So let's be clear. It's not me asking. It's the bride and the groom asking. I mean, it's one thing, the rabbi, whatever. But the bride, I mean, come on. So keep the phones in the purses and in the pockets. Live in the moment. Enjoy. And we'll be getting started right away. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Please be seated, everyone. Mi adir alakol, mi baruch alakol, mi gadol alakol, mi dagul alakol. Hu yevarech echatan, hu yevarech echatan, vehakala. May the one who is supreme in power, blessing, and glory bless this chatan, this groom, Aron Grusko. and this kala, this bride, Emily Gardiner. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Matthew Leibel. I'm a rabbi here at Congregation Shaare Zedek, and it is my honor and pleasure to welcome all of you to Emily and Aron's wedding. This is what we call in Jewish tradition a simcha, a joyous occasion, a celebration. Today we give recognition to the power of love. The power of love to strike at any time without warning, often when we least expect it, to sweep people off their feet, to make them do things they never thought they'd do, to connect people to each other in ways they never imagined, never expected. And the power of love to turn situations upside down, to turn news like you're moving to Winnipeg into the best news you've ever heard, to turn tears of sadness into tears of pure joy. Love is a beautiful thing, honest, unselfish, pure, especially when we all get to bear witness as two people tangled up in love choose to declare publicly their love for each other. A declaration built upon experience and enriched by emotion. A declaration that says who you are and who you want to be are best achieved by being together. That you are unquestionably better together. And so I'll say it again. This is a simcha, a time for reciting blessings, for giving thanks, and for rejoicing. Because this is truly one of the most important, most special days in Emily and Aron's lives. Let's explain a few of the customs we've already seen in this Jewish wedding. Because a Jewish wedding is full of rituals and customs, many of them long-standing and full of meaning. First, we have the circling, as Emily walked around Aron 7 times to conclude the processional. Circling is a magical means of protection. By walking around the groom, the bride creates an invisible wall, protecting him from evil spirits, from the glances of other women, and from the temptations of the world. The bride circles may also be seen as a way of binding the groom to her. Her circuits symbolically create a new family circle. Let's be clear. This is not an act of subservience on the part of the bride. Quite the opposite, in fact. This is the bride's power move. She's marking territory. She's letting everyone know this is her man. She's the one creating a new sacred space which the couple share together. And it is in this new space that together they walked up to the chuppah. The act of circling also gets the number 7 into our ceremony early on. 7 abounds in the Bible and in Jewish life. The world was created in 7 days. 7 is the number of Shabbat, the Sabbath, the number of perfection, wholeness, and peace. Next, we have the chuppah, under which our ceremony takes place, the Jewish wedding canopy. The chuppah symbolizes Emily and Aron's home. No walls, open on all sides. It's meant to recall the biblical tent of Abraham and Sarah, which had doors on all 4 sides, so travelers coming from any direction would stop and feel welcome. Just as Abraham and Sarah were the epitome of hospitality, it's our wish Emily and Aron's home will be a place where family and friends will always be welcomed with love and generosity. The chuppah is also understood as a sign of God's presence at the wedding and in the home being established. It is said the space beneath the chuppah is spiritually charged because God's name floats above it. Keeping that in mind, this chuppah is particularly special because Emily designed it. We encourage you to come up and check it out after the service. The design incorporates images, pictures of loved ones from Emily and Aron's families, from their lives, looking down on them at this very moment. Under the chuppah, it is said time dissolves. It all recedes into a radical now. Your wedding, takes place in the same time zone as the very first wedding, when God braided Eve's hair and stood with Adam as a witness. Your wedding is both the first wedding in the world and also the ultimate wedding, the latest chapter in a story that extends back 4,000 years and will continue into the knowable future. Next, we have wine. As Emily and Aron are about to share a cup of wine beneath this chuppah, there's a saying in Jewish tradition, without wine, there's no blessing. Wine is associated with all celebrations in Judaism, any moment of joy, really. Kiddush, the blessing over wine, is part of virtually all Jewish observance as a prayer of sanctification. We'll be reciting 2 blessings over a first cup of wine. And the cup we are using belongs to Aron's parents, Joanne and Shane. The Kiddush cup they use for Friday night Shabbat dinners. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu ala arayot, ve'asar lanu et arusod, v'yitir lanu et nisuot lanu, al yedei chuppah v'kiddushin. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh, amo Yisrael, al yedei chuppah v'kiddushin. As you share this wine, so may you share all things from this moment forward. May life's joys be heightened. May life's bitterness be sweetened, and each of its moments hallowed. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, creating the fruit of the vine. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, whose commandments add holiness to our lives and whose will guides us even in the most intimate of relationships. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, who sanctifies the people Israel with chuppah, the wedding canopy, and kiddushin, the sacred wedding traditions. So you remember that part I mentioned a few minutes ago? Tears of sadness. That's actually how this story begins. With Emily, a young lady from Ottawa, Ontario, a med school student, an aspiring doctor, finding out she'd have to move to Winnipeg for her residency. Let's just say it wasn't at the top of her list. Did she cry for a week straight when she matched to the peg? Maybe. It was July 2017. Aron, meanwhile, was carving out a career for himself in his hometown. He's Winnipeg born and raised, a product of the University of Manitoba Law School, and he was busy working as a tax lawyer at a prominent downtown firm. He had no idea who Emily Gardiner was, or that she was crying tears of sadness, or that she had just moved to Winnipeg, until 2 weeks after she moved, and they met online. Emily needed a little persuading at first, but eventually she agreed to go on a date. She remembers when Aron came to pick her up. First of all, she couldn't believe she was breaking her own rule of getting into a stranger's car. But it was a little bit easier when she remembered Aron had seemed very attentive in their limited online back and forth interactions. He really seemed to care about what she had to say, so that was a good sign. And it was certainly easier when he got out of the car and she saw he was very tall, very handsome, very friendly. He was also nervous, but in an endearing way. They just started talking so easily from the very first moment. They clicked. They went down to the Forks, spent the evening walking around, chatting, getting to know each other. The date went so well, they planned their next date before the evening was over, agreeing to check out a comedy show at the Fringe Festival a few nights later. The highlight of that second date probably has to be Aron's 30-minute rant on the joys of tax law. At least at that moment, Emily knew this was a guy who had the capacity to care about something deeply. He had passion. She realized she had the same feeling about medicine. Aron's explanation was he just felt so comfortable right away he could share something so personal and strange. Other highlights of that second date: a night with gnocchi and poutine, Emily's favorite foods. And Aron, so considerate of others, Emily realized that in the theater he squished himself into a seat just to make room for other people. After that, it was a daily occurrence for these two to hang out, day after day after day. Sometimes when you fall in love, you fall fast. You get swept up like a wave. 3 months in, Aron moved in. When we were together, I said, 3 months? I mean, I'm not here to judge. I'm just here to learn the story. And Emily said in that very moment, look, I used to think people who did that were totally crazy, and then I became one of these people. 2 years later, she says, I'm still crazy about this guy. So what exactly is she crazy about? With Aron, it starts with his machine brain. Always going, always figuring things out, always planning. As he once told me, my backup plans have backup plans. About how much he cares about people. Emily calls him the kindest, most thoughtful, says he puts 100% effort into all of his relationships, that he's good to the core, loyal, well-loved by his friends, attested by the fact that 16 gents joined him on his bachelor party. He's sweet, the kind of guy who shows up with flowers for no reason, care packages when Emily's post-call, the kind of guy who makes everything fun, even the most mundane, boring activity. At the same time, Aron caught something. He was infected with Emily's excitement and enthusiasm for life. How funny she is, how silly she can be. She's a dreamer, someone never afraid to go out of her comfort zone. Skydiving, scuba diving, a good balance to a man who describes himself as risk-averse. How she can lighten any mood with just a natural ability to put people at ease. And of course, there's her compassionate nature too. Emily truly cares about people, Aron tells me. Being a doctor for her is the perfect job. She cares to a fault, you might say, often to her own detriment. And then her mind as well. Curious, always learning, always going to. Emily describes her brain like TV static. Always crackling, always lighting up. Two people can fall into a rhythm sometimes very smoothly and quickly. He's early, she's late. He's organized and clean, she's messy. He's structured, she's spontaneous. He's an anxious stress case. She's laissez-faire. But it's perfect because these two keep each other in check. They balance each other. They bring out the best in each other. As they say, they meet in the middle. It's a whirlwind story, they'll both admit. But when you know, you know. It feels right, like it was meant to be. In Yiddish, we call this beshert, which translates to soulmate. It's a word that's actually inscribed on Emily's engagement ring. Beshert is a real thing. Lots of love stories are beshert, and you can add this epic tale to the list. That one you know, about the girl who moved to Winnipeg with tears in her eyes and met the love of her life 2 weeks in. That is beshert. That is meant to be. And so now, you two soulmates, it's time for you to exchange rings. In Jewish law, a verbal declaration of marriage just isn't enough. It's not legally binding in itself. There must also be something called kinyan, an act of formal physical acquisition. The groom gives something, the bride receives it, even something of nominal value. Since the 7th century, the preferred object for this exchange has been a ring. Wedding rings are made of precious metals, symbolizing a love that is both precious and enduring. They're perfect circles, representing love given freely and with no end. A lot of people say when you've traveled together and when you've lived together, marriage doesn't really change anything. But something that is different is the ring. You feel it on your finger. It becomes a part of you. The Jewish custom for brides and grooms is to give rings to each other's right hand index fingers. It's the easiest for witnesses to see such an important legal exchange when we use this finger. And then there was also this ancient belief that a single artery ran directly from the right hand index finger to the heart. So in a moment, that's what Emily and Aron will do. And we'll call forward their two witnesses in keeping with Jewish law, two witnesses needed for a legally binding action. But before we do that, someone's a little too excited to be a witness. Before we do that, we'll take a moment because Emily and Aron have written vows, their own vows for each other for this very special moment. And this is the perfect time to share those words. Who's going first?
Emmy, my love, putting into words why I love you in front of all our friends and family is both the simplest and most difficult task that I've ever undertaken. It is simple because I love you more than anything, for so many number of reasons and for all of them. The difficulty and the challenge is finding the words to give justice to my infinite love for you. I love that when you walk into a room, you instantly light it up with your cheerful smile, unabashed positivity, charm, charisma, quick wit, and silliness. You always put a smile on everyone's face. I love that you care about everyone and everything so deeply and so dearly. Be it your friends, family, patients, new casual acquaintances, so much so that you almost always put their needs above your own. I love that truly amazing brain of yours, always learning, always growing, always curious about the unknown and the unexplored. I love that you are passionate about life, people, art, medicine, science, religion, graphic design, travel, horticulture, and so many more things. I love that you dream big and that you encourage others to dream even bigger and to even step outside of their comfort zones. I love that you always inspire everyone around you, that you inspire them to be their best selves, that you always wish for the absolute best for everyone, and that you wholeheartedly celebrate the victories of others. I love that you do all of this and so much more for me. I love that you make me feel a happiness that transcends my entire being and a sense of serenity that only comes from finding your other half and from becoming an undivided whole. I love that your list of virtues is infinite and that all of the reasons that I love you cannot be contained by this moment in time. At this moment, though, Emmy, I especially love that you love me and that you agreed to spend the rest of your life with me. Now here today, Emmy, I promise to always support you no matter the occasion. I promise to always be there for you, whether you need a loving hand, a comforting hug, a quick joke, or a warm smile. I promise to build a loving home with you, filled with laughter, warmth, respect, and lots and lots and lots of love. Emmy, I love all that you are and all who you are. I love you more than anything, and I cannot wait to spend the rest of my life with you.
I'm going to try my best. Okay. You're good. You're a man of many talents. Okay. How can I explain how I feel about you, Aron? It's like describing color to the blind or music to the deaf. Indeed, I can say I see the world in full color since I met you. You're my soulmate, my beshert, meant to be. Somehow, tumbling through the chaos of life, I ended up exactly where I was meant to be, on a date with the handsome nerd king of my dreams. Aron, you're the object of my perpetual fascination and affection, the most interesting man in the world, so marvelously different from me. I'm impulsive, you're cautious. I'm messy, you're tidy. I'm late, you're early. You are perplexing. And I'm always in awe of that big, beautiful machine brain of yours. Sometimes I catch you deep in thought, with that cleft between your eyebrows and that wayward look in your eye, as if you're untying a knot with your mind, examining the loops from all angles, meticulously teasing and loosening one thread at a time, somehow unraveling the entire knot by pulling a single thread. You apply that energy, intensity, and time to all the people in your life. You are loyal and reliable, honoring all commitments, big and small. You always come through. I've never met anyone who loves and cares so much about their people, and at such great personal expense. You spend endless nights pacing back and forth in our little condo, working hard at the problems that matter the most, proofreading Caroline's academic proposal on short notice, generating grandiose plans for Mason's future, and addressing the infamous wine crisis. The love you have for your parents, your brother, your family, your friends, and now for my family, that's what makes me love you. You're such a great person. You're good to the core. I feel so blessed to be one of your people. If I'm having a bad day, if the world is falling apart around me, I feel safe. I have Einstein sitting down, plotting out the solution on a mental whiteboard. Aron, you challenge me to see the world in a different light. You're my guide in the dark, my personal comedian, leaving my belly sore from whole body laughs. You inspire me to be the best person I can be. You are my best friend, the love of my life, my beshert. Aron, I promise to love you fiercely, to support you in your pursuits, both personal and academic, to challenge you, to nurture your curiosity, to indulge your wild dreams and predictions, and to be by your side as long as I'm alive on this earth. I love you, my beshert.
Absolutely beautiful. The humor, the compassion, the honesty, two people very much in love. Now, may I please have the rings? And could our witnesses, our eager witnesses, please come forward? Thanks, bud. Okay. This is Aaron's ring, but he's going first. Remember, this finger. Don't look at me.
Arayat Mekudeshet Li Betabaat Zoa Kedat Moshe v'Yisrael. By this ring, you are consecrated to me as my wife, according to the laws of Moses and Israel.
Ani ladodi, vedodi li. I am my beloved's, and my beloved is mine.
Gentlemen, do you attest the groom has given the bride a ring and that she has done the same? Thank you. You may go back. Emily and Aron, just as your rings have no points of weakness, may your marriage be strong, and may you journey through life together protected by your love for each other. Now, as a sign of acceptance and free will, I invite you to move your rings to your left hands, where you can wear them proudly for many, many years in good health and in happiness. I'd say this is a nice moment maybe for a little bit of applause. Yeah? The exchange of rings actually completes an agreement entered into by Emily and Aron earlier this afternoon at a smaller ceremony called the Bedekin, where they signed a Jewish marriage contract called a ketubah in the presence of our same two witnesses, Kevin and Shay. The ketubah stipulates a number of important conditions. The groom agrees to a sum he or his heirs have to pay if the marriage were ever to end, as well as a promise to provide his bride with food, clothing, shelter, and romance. These are rules, and rules Jewish grooms have been bound to for 2,000 years. That's how long the ketubah has been in use, 2,000 years. It was actually quite progressive for its time, protecting the rights of the bride. The text is Aramaic, the common language of Jews 2 millennia ago. Only the names, dates, and a few other particulars change from wedding to wedding. The rest of the words are the same. That means that links this wedding with centuries of Jewish weddings in North America, in Europe, in Israel, all over the world that have come before. If you ask me, and I know I'm biased, that's pretty cool. The ketubah is just behind us over here. Again, you're welcome to check it out. I'll read you a little bit of the beginning. This ketubah witnesses before God and all those presents that on the 5th day of the week, the first day of the month of Tammuz, in the year 5779, which corresponds to the 4th of July in the year 2019, that the holy covenant of marriage was entered into in Winnipeg in Manitoba, Canada, between Aron Wesley Grusko, son of Joanne and Shane, and Emily Ann Gardiner, daughter of Francis and Dan. And they said to each other, I take you to be mine according to the traditions of Moses and Israel. It's now the custom to make the ketubah very decorative and artsy so couples can hang it in their homes, and to use an English translation that captures the official legal nature of the beginning, but then incorporates promises that reflect an emotional commitment, more in line with the wedding vows we've been so lucky to hear today. The design of this ketubah was carefully picked by Emily and Aron from an artist in New York. It interweaves the English with the Aramaic and has the provincial flowers of their respective home provinces in its floral design. Trillium for Emily's Ontario, prairie crocus for Aron's Manitoba. Your design, your ketubah, is both thoughtful and beautiful. May you display it proudly in your home, and may you live by the closing words in the English. May your lives grow together in prosperity and joy. It's now time for a set of blessings over a second cup of wine. These blessings are known as the Sheva Brachot, 7 blessings, as again we see the significance of the number 7, matching the circles from the beginning of the ceremony. The second cup we'll be using this evening is a gift from Joanne and Shane to Emily and Aron. It will become their new Shabbat Kiddush cup for Friday night dinners. It's considered an honor to ask family or friends to recite some or all of these blessings. Emily and Aron have chosen their dads, Shane and Dan, to have this honor in this ceremony. Each will read 3 of the blessing, and I'll have the honor of chanting the 7th and final one in traditional melodies. So, we start with Shane. But just before we do, Emily and Aron will also be wrapping themselves in a talit for these blessings, a Jewish prayer shawl. This is a tradition that is in keeping with Sephardic Jews, Jews who have roots in the Spanish countries along the Mediterranean. This talit is extra special, blending the past, present, and future, because it was the talit that Joanne, Aron's mom, wove for him for his bar mitzvah on this very same bima just 16 years ago.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shechol bara likvodo. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer ha'adam.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר יצר את האדם בצלמו הצלם, דמות דברינו ותיקון לו ממנו ביין עד עד. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר האדם. סוסטסיס בתגי הקרש בקיבוץ בניחה לתוכה בשמחה. ברוך אתה אדוני משמח ציון בבניה. שמח תשמח ורעים הקרובים כשמחה יציחה בגן עדן מקדם. ברוך אתה אדוני משמח חתן וכלה.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bara sason v'simcha chatan v'chala, gila rina ditza v'chedva, ahava ve'achava ve'shalom ve'reut. Meher Adonai Eloheinu yishama be'arei Yehuda, uv'chutzod Yerushalayim, uv'chutzod Yerushalayim. Kol sason ve'kol simcha, kol chatan ve'kol kala. Kol mitzalot chatanim, mechupatam, unearim imishte neginatam. Kol sason ve'kol simcha, kol chatan ve'kol kala. Kol sason ve'kol simcha, kol chatan ve'kol kala. Baruch atah Adonai. Mesameach chatan, im hakala. Amen. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, who rules the universe, who created joy and gladness, bride and groom, pleasure, song, delight, laughter, love, and harmony. Adonai, our God, may there always be heard in the cities of Judah and the streets of Jerusalem voices of joy and gladness and happiness, voices of bride and groom, jubilant voices of those joined in marriage under the chuppah, voices of young people feasting and singing. Praised are you, Adonai, who causes the groom and the bride to rejoice together. And we may all say, Amen. You may drink from the second cup. Ayasher Koach to the proud fathers, Shane, Dan, wonderful job. We're almost there. You could argue that this is the definition of a perfect moment. So you got to take it all in. I would invite the two of you to turn and face all of your guests. These people here you see before you, these are your family and friends. The ideals, understanding, and mutual respect you bring to your relationship have their roots in the love, friendship, and guidance you've received from these people here today. All the most important people in your lives, all together in the same place, all for you. You really are lucky to be loved by so many. Now you can turn back and face each other. Now it's just about the two of you, as you forget about everyone here and instead Look at the picture you have in your mind and of what you see before you of your future together. Everything you can think of, you're excited to do together. You really are so lucky to have found each other and to have made it to this moment. Today you entered as individuals, but you leave here as husband and wife, blending your lives, expanding your family ties, and embarking on the greatest adventure of human interaction. Your future together is yours to write. So make it a good one, because everyone here in your lives is cheering for that and cheering for you. Our ceremony is about to finish. Here's what's going to happen. Emily and Aron will be observing something called yichud, which is seclusion. They'll head off to a private room for about 15 minutes. The idea here is that they get to spend the very first moments of married life together, just the two of them. A reminder, even surrounded by family and friends, it's important to make time for each other. Everyone else, you're invited back through the doors of the sanctuary into the foyer for cocktails, appetizers, and the rest of the evening will unfold from there. But just before we get to all of this, we have one final ritual. An aside, it's a bit of an ad-lib moment. Just knowing Aron's nature and getting to know him, I imagine for the last week he's been kind of practicing in his sleep. Because like at the rehearsal yesterday, he was like, has anyone ever missed? Has anyone ever... It's like, dude, really? They're not going to let you miss at your own wedding. Even if you miss, we will say you got it. It's fine. You're good, I promise. So what am I talking about? I'm talking about what is the most famous and most familiar of all the Jewish wedding rituals, and it's the breaking of the glass. The groom uses his foot to smash a glass. Everyone will yell mazel tov, which are the Hebrew words for congratulations. But what's funny is, as familiar as this custom has become, you'd think there'd be an easy, wrapped up single explanation. The reality is that there are many explanations for breaking the glass. Some people say it reminds us of the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem. That at times when we are at our most joyous, our most celebratory, we still need a reminder there are people in this world who suffer. We should be mindful of them. There's always something we could do better to repair the world. Other people say it's superstitious in nature, that the loud noise scares away any demons who would ruin our fun. And then there's another idea, that it's a metaphor for love. Love is fragile, like glass, breakable. Once it's shattered, there's no putting it back together again. So it's a charge to our happy couple to protect and treasure your love. Or maybe one more. Maybe the breaking of the glass teaches us to accept each other and life's imperfections. As the great poet Leonard Cohen once wrote, ring the bells that still can ring, forget your perfect offering, there's a crack in everything, that's how the light gets in. Whatever the reason, the shattering of the glass is the final moment, the exclamation mark on a beautiful afternoon and a beautiful ceremony. And so it should be met with loud cheers and applause. People, you know what to do. And for the two of you, Emily and Aron, it is my pleasure and my honor to say that by the power vested in me by the province of Manitoba, and in accordance with the laws of Moses and Israel, you are husband and wife. You may break the glass and kiss. Mazel tov!